You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look me better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 5th part of What If Naruto Enters Elder Scrolls series. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of pyrohelixdrago on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Next day. Cheyenne presented Naruto Dawnbreaker knowing it'd be useful to him along with the ingots used to refine the weapon as it was very old. Thank you. I'll be seeing you two later. Now I've got a vampire to go slice open, Naruto said as he was wanting end Harkon so Mara would stop bugging him. My god, the goddess never shuts up. Both women while corrupted did like the sound of that. Few hours later Dawnstar. Have a few loose ends to tie up and we're outta here. Naruto thought as the people were looking better after what he and the others did in Nightcaller Temple. Even if he had pissed a Vermina it was worth it. You're in the way of my workers. Either grab a pickaxe or PSS off. A female voice shouted at Naruto making him turn to see a Nord woman with brown hair yelling at him. Do you not know who I am? Naruto asked more surprised at her attitude towards him. Honestly it was a nice change of pace to the SCK-ups surrounding him. Someone standing in my way, the woman said, walking past him not caring. Heh spunky. I like that. What's your name? Naruto asked with a smirk. B-tilde. B-tilde said to him as she worked, if you work for my husband tell him to F off, I ain't selling, so tell him to take his pickaxe and shove it up his fat ass, B-tilde told Naruto as she smashed through some rock to mine at the ore. Naruto was curious as he came here as a favor to Adrienne as she was a friend who liked to be stocked in materials. And since this was a mining town he was hoping to send her more supplies. And I thought being blood kin would be enough. He thought as the orcs were cheapskates even to those of blood kin and their own kind, so it was hard to make good deals with them for her. I'm not working for your husband. I was actually hoping to invest in one of the 2 mines in this hold. Naruto stated. You're better off with me. B-tilde said simply. Oh. And why is that? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. When I was still married to that fat effer I noticed some return customers and heard about some things blacksmiths forged breaking. That idiot is mixing in cheap metal with his quicksilver for profit over quality. I may not have the same ore as him but my iron at least won't break on you, B-tilde said. Naruto had to give her some credit about that deduction. Later at night. Naruto entered the husband's empty mine and looked deep inside and saw the metal was pure and that the ingots seemed to have some miscolor, but it was because Naruto had trained eyes he noticed. Fey fool. He had to know he wouldn't get away with this, Naruto muttered before noticing a letter under a book on the table with ingots. One with amounts to use of other metals to stretch out his ores for more profits. Naruto looked around for more as the man kept a lot of detailed notes on his highly illegal practice. Yeah, people in Skyrim were kind of idiots. He then found paperwork such as deeds and rights to the mine and they were approved by the Jarl. Maybe I can ask a favor, he thought to himself. After all he was the Dragonborn. No Jarl was gonna mess with him if they wanted to keep him in Skyrim for protection against the dragons. Naruto pocketed all the deeds and letters before sneaking out of the Quicksilver mine. Next day. The guards were taking the man to prison and due to his crimes his bail was set to 200,000 gold which no one was gonna pay. He went back to B-tilde and gave her the deeds and they were now in her name. How did you do this? She asked, more surprised than anything. She had never asked him to do such a thing after all. I suppose I never did give my name yesterday. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, he greeted with a bow to the Nord woman. B seemed to choke on her own spit when he said that. I acted like such a B to the Dragonborn of all people, she thought, feeling both guilty and like an idiot. After you told your husband's actions, I figured I'd do a bit of investigating since those were serious claims. Naruto said simply. Why? B asked, confused. She was a B to him, and on top of that she never asked, so why go out of his way to with something she never asked for? I hate seeing people get ripped off, and I respect hard work. Not to mention, while your attitude was rough, you were honest. I respect that. Naruto told her, and now that an honest person has both minds, I can freely invest in both of them, Naruto said with a smile to the Nord miner. Thank you, B muttered in shock. She had wanted to take down her husband with her own mind by beating him out, but this was even better. Not a problem. Now I'll let you settle with your new employees, but come to the Wind Peak Inn for a drink tonight and we'll discuss the investment, Naruto told her as he turned around. He was gonna rest at the inn for the rest of the day. B nodded, liking that offer very much. Such a nice peach, she thought, laughing to herself, wondering if some cellmate was thinking the same about her husband. Night time. Wind Peak Inn. B walked into the inn and was surprised to see the inn completely empty. Even Thoring, who never left the inn, was gone. Maybe his daughter finally talked him into a day off. Naruto was smiling to himself as this town was truly catching up on its sleep after what he did, as they were no longer plagued by nightmares. Even the most hard-headed workers needed rest now after all, since the nightmares caused many issues. Have a seat, Naruto gestured to the seat in front of him at the table he was sitting at. Where is everyone? B asked. I asked them to leave with some coin. This is a private business meeting after all, he said simply. B felt a little honored that he was giving her so much respect and courtesy. It was surprising, since most that she heard about the Dragonborn was he was powerful, yet also a woman stealing, husband beating, dragon slaying, wench laying, bad peach. What she didn't realize was that beneath the table Kurita, the bard and daughter of Thoring, was currently under the table guzzling Naruto's PP after finding out he was the Dragonborn. Kurita was in heaven servicing the legendary Dragonborn. Taking her father's words to give him whatever he likes and to make him happy 100% literally. He liked her, so she gave herself to him. Simple as that. Now then, I'm prepared to invest 5,000 gold into each mine to start, Naruto said. B nearly choked on her own spit hearing that amount, as it was more than enough. In exchange, I have a smithing friend in Whiterun that could use your materials from both mines at a reasonable discount, or at the very least priority when sending it out to her. Her name's Adriana Venixai, Naruto told her. That was it. B couldn't nod at that fast enough, thinking this was a deal she'd be stupid to ignore. Do well enough and I'll invest more money in your mines, as well as recommend you to other smiths I meet, Naruto told her. B nodded in understanding and smiled, thanking him profusely. But there is something else I want out of this deal, Naruto said. Seeing she was focused on him, B was listening closely, as this deal could make her life a very comfortable one for the rest of it. I need you to, oh, 1 second, Naruto said before he paused, and B heard what sounded like sloshing liquids and beneath the table. On his side of the table. B immediately had her eyes widen as she looked under the table. Her mouth opening in shock to see Kurita guzzling down a load of juices from Naruto's PP as she choked on it. You see, that 10,000 gold isn't just for you to do your job, I also want to buy you, Naruto said with a straight face as Kurita downed his load. What? B stuttered. She actually stuttered. I'm giving you the money, but a part of the deal is that I get to buy and own you, Naruto said, as simple as breathing. B stuttered. Is the amount too low? I suppose they can't all be as cheap as you, Kurita, Naruto mused as he patted the bard on her head like a pet. B stuttered for a moment, unable to believe someone was trying to buy her, especially the Dragonborn. Someone who supposedly was able to make women shout themselves after being bedded by him. Do it. He tastes amazing, Kurita said to her, eating his PP like it was the last PP in the world. B nervously nodded, unsure how else to respond to him. You accept then? Wonderful, let us all celebrate, Naruto smirked as he pulled Kurita up from the floor and pushed her onto the table. Making the barred woman giggle at his show of ownership of her. You're a little too clothed, Betilde, Naruto told the mining woman with a smirk gracing his lips. Betilde blushed as this was the first time she ever felt weak toward a man. Her husband was a weakling in her eyes and all they ever did was fight. But this man was a warrior. Someone who took charge. Someone who would challenge her honestly. It made her wet and made her toes curl from just his gaze alone. As Betilde slowly strpped out of her mining clothes, Naruto had his hands on Kurita's loose bardic clothing and tore it off her CC body. Betilde looked at the daughter of the innkeeper and rolled her eyes as while friends with the girl's father, she knew the bard was a loose woman and loved SEC almost as much as singing. Wanna tell Betilde how much I paid for you? Naruto asked Kurita with a smirk as his hand found its way to her large chest and gripped one of her melons. Making the bardic woman aloud at his actions. 1 septim. Kurita said happily and panting at his touch. Betilde looked at the girl blankly as she couldn't tell if she was an idiot for not trying to get more for what she was worth or if she was just content being with the Dragonborn in general. I did also agree to invest in the inn here. May even find them a new bard for when I take her with me, Naruto said with a grin as he pulled Kurita's legs apart and tore her panties off. Does he want to own Dawnstar? Betilde thought as if one controlled the land they basically controlled the hold. Even the Jarl would think twice about going against someone who owned the most land and businesses. I believe we've spoken enough though. It's time for you two to fulfill your duties, Naruto said with a smirk as he gestured to Betilde to join Kurita on the table. Betilde crawled along the large dining table towards her new owner and his bard pet. As soon as she was in front of him, she as he claimed her lips in a fierce tongue kiss while Kurita giggled like a wanton SLT at the sight. If it wasn't so cold, I'd F you along the B. Naruto said to Kurita after he stopped kissing Betilde, making the bard blush and giggle thinking of some of the rare heated days where one could go into the ocean and relax. On those days she would sometimes swim in the NDE and enjoy the salty water on her skin. Sounds wonderful, Kurita giggled before finding Betilde pushed on top of her. The miner's face pushed into the bard's large melons. Since you had a taste before I think I'll let Betilde get the first F, Naruto said as he rubbed his cockhead against the miner's slit. Betilde let out a whiny knowing this would ruin her ol for other men as Naruto was enormous compared to her ex-husband. Ready to have a real man inside you? Naruto asked with a grin at Betilde before he shoved his PP into her before she could answer. Kurita smiled hearing her out loudly as the miner was hitting the high notes that would make other bards jealous. Oh God! Betilde screamed having never had something so massive in her CNT. I prefer being called Naruto thank you, Naruto smirked before he gripped Betilde's peach and started to jackhammer relentlessly into her TWT. Betilde smiled dumbly as he was pounding against her WMB. Something she had never felt happen in her entire marriage. How's it feel? Naruto asked with a grin as he moved one of his hands from her peach down her stomach towards to her CLT and pinched it. Incredible. Betilde screamed loudly as the pleasure was unlike anything she had ever felt. Drool dripping from her mouth onto the bard below as the Dragonborn used her body like a living SEC toy. Kurita giggled watching this as she couldn't wait for herself to be in that position after he was done ruining Betilde. Ready my new mining SLT? I'm about to leak so tell me where you want my load, Naruto told her. Everywhere. Betilde yelled, wanting to feel his juices all over and inside her body. You got it. One massive load for a massive wear. Naruto smirked at how mind-broken she was before he hilted fully inside of her. He flooded her insides with his thick juices before he pulled out and fired the remainder on her peach and back. Making her scream as the feeling of his juices in multiple places made her own orgasm hit. Her scream echoing inside of the inn and potentially waking up the rest of Dawnstar with her. As Betilde took shuddering breaths, Kurita began to lick the juices on Betilde's back and peach up and soon moved to her filled ol and shoved her tongue up it. hoping to taste more of Naruto's seed from inside the mining woman. Kurita was surprised Naruto picked her up and brought her ankles near her head and began to move into her, powerfully making her gush onto B with each move. Nothing like a bardic where to PND into how I wish. Naruto grunted out as Kurita screamed as he thrust it into her. Ah! Use me. Use me however you wish, my lord. Kurita screamed out in pure, unrestrained lust, wanting him to do as he pleased, as in the end it would only give her more and new ways to experience pleasure. Oh yeah, I'm definitely taking you with me, Naruto grunted out. Her willing attitude without even being turned yet was a surprising turn on. B was jealous now of the Bard, whereas being with this god amongst men seemed like a dream. Oh, don't glare at her, B. Otherwise I'll F your employees before you again, Naruto warned the naturally aggressive mining woman. He didn't need them to fight after all. They were his property now. Yes, MSTR. B. said, never thinking she'd like anyone to be the MSTR of her, or that she'd like saying it so much. But here she was now. Watching her new MSTR PND his glorious PP into the bardic wear of Dawnstar. Ah! Ruin me, MSTR. Ruin my oles. Slam your wondrous PP inside me. Kurita shouted aloud in pure lust. Wonder if I should have them sing. Naruto thought of the two bard women he had taken, wondering if he should have them sing about his prowess in bed, or maybe while he made love to a maiden they could sing for him as he defiled said maiden. I guess all bards really are easy SLTS, Naruto mused in reminiscence as he moved his PP against Kurita's WMB. Making the bard scream in pleasure to the point some of the glasses and drinkware actually shattered from her shouts. Yeah, hit those high notes SLT. Naruto chuckled, encouraging her loud, musical screams and the destruction that they caused. Kurita screamed even louder at his thrusts. One could mistake that scream for a spell of destruction from the sheer power of it. Okay, bards are loud. Naruto thought, forgetting that little fact, and made a mental note to wear ear plugs next time he took a bard for a ride. We should probably make sure your father has some drinkware left, right, Kurita? Naruto asked as he moved a hand to her mouth to stop her loud screaming. Mostly to not wake all of Dawnstar. Naruto drilled both women till they saw nothing but stars, staining both the insides and outsides of their bodies, marking them as his further. Next day, Naruto walked out of the inn to see Tsunade, and she showed him a bag with all the fragments for the dagger. Thank you, my pet. Naruto grinned at Tsunade. Tsunade smiled at his nickname for her. She gave him a tender kiss, knowing he had to go and have this blade fixed. Do you wish for one of us to accompany you, MSTR? Tsunade asked. I'll bring Kurenai. She has a Daedric artifact as well. So if Silus pulls anything we should be fine to fight Daedric magic with Daedric magic. Tsunade disliked the bee very much, as while Kurenai had a bit more power than even her at the moment she was working to close the gap, she's only more powerful, because he is, she thought, knowing each girl bitten by her MSTR was different the more power he accumulated. Are you jealous of Kurenai? Naruto asked, seeing her look. No, because I can still satisfy you the most. Tsunade said as she was willing to drop to her knees and SCK him off in public to prove that. Oh really, then how did Kurenai outlast even your record? Naruto asked with a smirk, teasing the normally confident Sannin. You're lying, Tsunade said, sure of that being the case. She couldn't believe Kurenai of all people outlasting her. Naruto had to give her credit, she was confident, and it was well earned in his opinion, as many were jealous of her. But she was never jealous of anyone else. I suppose it would be hard to believe even from me, but it's true. She beat out your record. Naruto grinned. Tsunade was infuriated at that. I will service you till my limbs are numb, when you return, she said, walking away. Naruto had no problems with that whatsoever as he went to retrieve his illusion specialist. 2 hours later. The shrine of Mehrunes Dagon. It was rather odd for Skyrim to have so many shrines to the Daedra when they also vilified them, but he wasn't gonna complain. Him, Silus, and Kurenai had all journeyed to the shrine to see if Mehrunes Dagon would rebuild his razor. Naruto placed the dagger pieces down and saw them begin to glow. Mortal. You are worthy of speaking to. While you did not personally claim the pieces of the razor, I have been watching your actions. You amuse me with your actions. The destruction you bring about in your wake. Your ambitions. The changes you bring, be they through battle or simply through betting. It's quite inspiring even to us. Daedra, the voice of Mehrunes Dagon, spoke to the two of them. Kurenai clenched her staff, wanting to murder the voice that said her MSTR wasn't worthy, as he transcended leaps and bounds of what it meant to be worthy. I will permit thee to wield my razor if you do one thing for me. Kill Silus. His family has served their purpose over the years. Naruto blinked, finding it odd he wanted to kill a follower, but saw no reason not to agree, as the man probably would have done the same to him. Wait, what did Lord Dagon say? Silus asked before the very dagger he reforged was plunged into his neck all the way through. Why? Silus asked, choking on blood. Honestly, you would have done the same, Naruto said, as he knew the man was using him to complete his own goals. The man dropped to the edge, soon falling over the cliff. Well done, my new champion. Mehrunes cackled as Naruto had no hesitation at all in doing so. Champion? Pass, Naruto said, I just want the razor. I have no interest in being the lapdog of any Daedra, Naruto said. Smart move, kid, the Shinagami said to him. Most Daedra use champions to get them power and followers. This one, though, is a joke, he said as he took the dagger. I mean, look at this small thing, he said, as most had more unique weapons. You dare mock Mehrunes Dagon, false god of death? He who started the Oblivion Crisis? Dagon's voice yelled. The Shinagami glared as he snapped his fingers and a rather small Daedra appeared, no bigger than 3 feet. I am no false god, as you will soon see, he said, stabbing him in the stomach, seeing the life drain out his eyes as he ate his soul. Did he just kill and eat a Daedric prince? Kurenai asked. Trust me, this prince steals his power. He may be one of the more powerful, but that's because he gives false promises of power. Shinagami said, as if he killed someone like the others it would be more troublesome. But Dagon had caused so many issues over lifetimes and led to the Shinagami having to deal with countless souls to judge. Naruto was handed back the knife as it was still working, thankfully. So what happens now that he's dead? I have to fill the spot with a soul. You want the job? Shinagami asked, as it was worth it in the end to kill this idiot. Hell no. Smart boy. Last time someone like you did that was how we got the current Shiogarath. Shinagami said before his hand started to thrum with energy. Let's see, his spheres were destruction, revolution, energy, change, and ambition. I got it, Shinagami said before snapping his fingers. A female Daedra appeared before them, but what caught their attention was she looked like Kurenai. Do you have a sister? Naruto asked his lover. No, she doesn't. Naruto, say hello to the former human-turned Daedra Marai. Shinagami said as he made the girl a Daedra some time ago to do certain tasks for him in this world. What? Kurenai asked in shock, even dropping her staff. Wasn't she a baby before we came to this world? Naruto asked, also confused. Time moves faster where I'm from or slower, it changes a lot. Shinagami said as death was not affected by time, so it was often distorted. Marai, I need you to become the new Daedric prince. You answer to this idiot now, he said, pointing at Naruto, letting her know he was her new MSTR. So I'm being W out like my mom? Marai asked with a smile on her face. That's your choice, I just don't want to deal with the Daedric SHT. Shinagami said before he vanished. Silence, that was all Naruto could respond with to this whole scenario. He had no clue what was even going on anymore. Daedra SHT was so goddamned confusing. It is an honor to serve you. Marai said with a smile her species was fond of using. Are you really my daughter? Kurenai asked near tears as she approached the deadrified Marai. Still in shock at what even was happening. Marai paid no attention to her mother. Instead her attention was all on Naruto, as many Daedric spirits talked about him as he was something that appealed to them, as he was chaos incarnate. He did what he wanted, took what he wanted, and did whomever he wanted. It was as if he was their god. While some of the other Daedric princes like VERYYYY would speak against his actions, others like Nocturnal and even Shiagarath enjoyed all he had done so far. And Dagon's end only solidified this thought process. Most would either praise Naruto or curse him, but she was most grateful, as not only was she a fan of his, but because of him she rose to power and now served him as well. Sorry, what was the question? Marai asked Kurenai. Kurenai saw the look in her daughter's eyes and was unsure if she should be concerned as she saw the lust for Naruto as she did for all women that looked his way, but what concerned her is if her daughter would become her MSTR's property as she was. So I have another Daedra serving me, and they're from our old world, Naruto mused as first Cheyenne now Marai. It certainly was a perk to have such loyal and powerful women who obeyed him. Yes my lord, Marai said happily to her new lord and MSTR. So I can order you around and have you do anything for me, right? Naruto asked. Yes my lord, anything or anyone. Marai said, looking at her mother licking her lips. SLT, a Daedric artifact is not enough for me, she thought, as Daedric artifacts work less on the Daedric species if at all. Interesting. Kurenai, make out with your daughter, Naruto ordered. Kurenai blushed, but was caught off guard when her daughter tackled her into a makeout session. DMN, that's hot, Naruto smirked, watching the show the mother and daughter put on for him. I shall give him my blessings. Marai thought, as Daedra had contracts they could make with humans in order for them to summon them. She gave Naruto all of them, the black market ability, and the ability to summon Daedric warriors to aid him in battle. Or even herself in a fight, or if he just wants to use her to warm his bed at night. She would be of any use to him, as she knew through his travels he'd cause more destruction in his wake for her to enjoy. As she thought to herself on this, she suddenly found herself on her back with her mother on top of her. Her mother's tongue invading her throat in a show of demps. I apologize Marai, but while you may be my daughter I still serve my MSTR. Kurenai said, as she was willing to do anything he asked of her. Anything. Good. Naruto said, rewarding her with a spank to her peach. Making Kurenai aloud at his actions. I may as well see what's inside the actual shrine, Naruto said as he looked at the large black doors to enter the shrine of what was formerly Mehrunes Dagon. Now belonging to Marai. Naruto found mostly rare ingredients like Daedra hearts and Daedric armor. As well as rare metals like gold ingots and ebony ingots. My temple is now yours to use as you wish MSTR. Marai said, hoping for more debauchery to happen here in the future. Wonderful, then how about a little show? See, I've been looking to see who of my women will be my head bee. Currently Tsunade is the alpha so to speak, however your mother is in the running to take the spot. I want to see which of you two is the more depraved, Naruto said as he took a seat on a large throne. I am. Marai said, disregarding her robes showing her devilish body, I will fulfill your every longing and wish MSTR, I will take the souls of anyone, even your lovers, if you deemed it only to give to you, just so you could own them further, she said, as owning a soul meant total control over whomever it belonged to. And would you give me your soul? Naruto asked. Marai smiled as she placed a hand on her heart and soon a ball of energy appeared. I will take my mother's if you wish, she said as her mother was a toy to her MSTR, and if he said the word she'd do what she promised. That's not necessary. I wanted to see how loyal you were. But you've proven yourself. Now I just need to test your body, Naruto smirked. Kurenai, undress me of my armor, Naruto ordered the woman. Kurenai did as told. Having much experience with her own armor, she undid his quickly, leaving him NDE. Thank you. Now Marai, leak to me. Kurenai, you will watch and see how your daughter pleases me. Naruto ordered. Kurenai nodded as her eyes were glued onto Marai as she blushed, never thinking she'd be present as her daughter was plowed by her lover and MSTR. It actually was a rather RSNG scenario. One she never would have thought of, truth be told. Marai walked over to Naruto and climbed atop the seat before descending herself onto his hard PP in a cowgirl position. Her eyes widening from the PNTRTN as she had never had something like this ever happen to her before. Naruto grabbed the new Daedric princess of Destructs by her peach and started to lift her up and down on his PP. Mirai was excited being F'd by Naruto as he certainly lived up to his rumors and more. This was what she wanted, this would forever be her life, serving this man with every fiber of her being. 2 Daedras conquered. None can hold a candle to me, I guess. Be they Daedra or the gods and goddesses. Maybe after I defile you I'll go for some of the goddesses. I'm sure Debella herself could use a good ding from a powerhouse like me. Maybe Mara can stop preaching love and preach about my thick PP splitting her oles open, Naruto grunted out as he slammed Mirai on his PP over and over and over again, making her scream aloud as he used her body like a toy for his pleasure. Kurenai watched the show of Naruto using her daughter wordlessly, waiting for when her opinion was to be asked of by her MSTR and lord. How does it feel, Kurenai? To have your daughter be my SLV? Naruto said to her. Mirai furiously. Hot. Kurenai said unashamedly as she watched her daughter scream and from Naruto's use of her sinful body. She's a Daedra, this is what she was made for, sin, she thought in mild amusement. Ah! Mirai yelled in immense pleasure as she felt her WMB being pummeled by Naruto's godly PP. She's good and tight. But she definitely needs some lessons from you, Naruto told Kurenai as he moved a hand from her peach to her chest and squeezed her melons. Mirai losing herself to the pleasure she was getting. Naruto felt his own release coming due to her tightness. Before long he let his load out and filled Mirai with his cuck as she shook. Kurenai watched her daughter be filled, wondering if her short MLF status would go to GLF with how much seed was pouring into her daughter. Naruto picked up Mirai off of his PP and walked over to Kurenai before grabbing her by her long hair and pulling her over to the throne he sat her on. Specifically, he pulled the mother down towards her daughter's CNT. Lick, Naruto ordered Kurenai. Kurenai did as told and ate the delicious seed pouring forth from her daughter's TWT. Good, Kurenai. Lick her clean. Naruto told her with a smirk on his lips, watching the mother eat out her daughter like her life depended on it. Kurenai as she felt Naruto move into her as she ate out her daughter into her PP and making the new Daedra princess scream in shock when Kurenai's tongue moved deep inside her CNT, hitting her G-spot. God, there's just something about mothers and daughters together as wears for me. I should have you two, fast red, and body all service me one night together, Naruto said with a grin on his lips. Kurenai didn't respond verbally, but her tongue shot deeper inside her daughter's TWT and made Mirai scream aloud once more, signifying their love of the idea as Naruto used their bodies for his pleasure the rest of the day. Next day, Mirai bowed before her lord as he departed. When in my temple you are mine, she said to her mother as she. Then why was I in control of you, daughter? Make no mistake, I shall be the MSTR's true alpha, Kurenai told her daughter as she glared. Mirai blushed, recalling when her mother massaged her peach and tongued her before ripping off her panties the night before. The two, realizing Naruto was walking ahead, ran to catch up to their MSTR. And it's no wonder I turned into a Daedra, she thought as she was made into a sinful creature, but deep below her mother's surface, she was as sinful and as depraved as her. And yet somehow her mother may have been even more depraved despite not being a full Daedra. A few days later, Naruto and the ladies went back to BLD Chill Manor to plan their next moves. Tsunade and Kurenai would be going off to various crypts to find draconic word walls with words of power for Naruto to learn as well as other treasures. Serena would be watching over Keeper Carset while learning of any ways to thwart her father's plans. Naruto and his group of Mei, Shizune, and Anko, made it to the gates of Solitude after days of walking, and upon arrival at the gates, they were bombarded with cheers and many people dressed cordially. This is something I wasn't expecting, Shizune thought, smiling, seeing the children approach and bombard him and how hotly the women seemed and flaunted to him. Suddenly all of the crowd suddenly took a knee as a familiar woman came with a royal guard surrounding her. Jarl Elisif the Fair. Ruler of Solitude. And the woman Naruto had plowed back at Elenwen's Thalmor party. Welcome the dragonborn people of Solitude. The man who faces dragons. The one who steals their very souls and the man who I shall take as my new husband. Elisif yelled openly to the crowd. The women in Naruto's group were shocked that they were blindsided by this proposal, not sure whether to kill the woman or be impressed by her bold claim. All hail the Dragonborn. One man from the crowd spoke aloud as his bow turned from Elisif to Naruto himself. If their queen had found a new love after her husband's death, then who were they to judge? All hail the true High Queen and her future High King. Another in the crowd spoke up. All hail. All hail. All hail. The crowd yelled as they bowed to the two they perceived as the true rulers of Skyrim. Fear not, women of Skyrim. My future king shall need many concubines. For those with interest in him I will not stand in the way of his appetites. Elisif yelled for all to hear. And at that moment Naruto was at the center of everyone's attention. He was the envy of men and lustful object of women. Gonna need some way to hide from the Stormcloaks. Naruto thought to himself as being named candidate for High King and Elisif's betrothed made him an even larger target, as Ulfric would not care about the dragons if he was a threat to his perceived rightful rule and revolution. But he would deal with that later. For now he had business to deal with in every hold, and Solitude was no different. He would gather items, supplies, and magic weapons needed to help him on his quest to save Skyrim. But first things first, Harkon's castle was close to Solitude. It was time for the vampire lord to be slain. Once and for all. Solitude. My eyes are killing me, whoever wrote that is insane. Naruto said as he read Serana's Elder Scroll, this was written by someone not human. So Abao and the DMN son, he thought, remembering those tidbits, he teleported to Whiterun and looked for Aela. Perhaps given her werewolf nature she may have heard bits and pieces of a vampire prophecy. A legend of Abao and the sun? Aela asked. The only thing that can be is the legendary Oriel's bow, she said to him. Allow me to procure it, Mstr, I have heard rumors for years it is somewhere near Markarth, she said, as the temple was supposedly near there, but she needed to search through a cave. What the F would Harkon want with a bow with the power of the sun? Naruto asked himself. I corrupted Merida's light, but it is still light all the same, he thought, wondering if Harkon was trying to do something similar. 1 hour later. Naruto decided to take Serena, Tsunade, Enko, and Mei to Harkon's castle. Is there anything about the castle we should know? Naruto asked as Serena was riding with him. My father sealed my mother's garden, damaging the way into it. Serena said, remembering when he did that in a blind rage. Your mother was an alchemist and an enchanter, correct? Naruto asked as Serena told him her mother was a legend at her craft, possibly on par with Tsunade or even exceeding that given her age as a vampire. The best in all the lands, people feared her because she was a vampire, but people respected her for her knowledge. Serena said to him with a small smile. She had to have a lab, mind if we go there? Naruto asked as if this woman was as crafty as he thought she was, she'd have left behind a clue. Few minutes later. Vampires really don't take care of their SHT, Naruto thought, as there was a port on the side of the castle for ships and it seemed in immediate need of repairs, and they don't take care of their corpses apparently, he thought, seeing some skeletons walking around. 1 hour later. Okay, this woman definitely had to be here. Tsunade said, breaking a gargoyle. No one has this much security. Mei said as the amount of undead and gargoyles here was insane. And all these hidden levers. Enko said as it was all well hidden as well as the puzzles. That sums up who my mother is. Serena said as her mother was quite possibly the smartest person in Skyrim past and present, but she was certainly a piece of work, dealing with her father certainly would make her like that. And Mara made me married to her, can't tell if that was a gift or a curse. Naruto said as he was done with these rock creatures. You can only kill gargoyles so many times before it gets utterly inane. They soon made it to the top of the tower and found Serena's mother's lab. Tsunade had to admit this lab while old was top of the line as Serena's mother had everything, even Daedric hearts, which were an extremely rare ingredient. May saw a nearby bookshelf and inspected it, looking at the dust. Given how long it's been, she thought, thinking of another tactic when searching books, the wear and tear. She thought as each book had shown signs of use or being untouched, she soon found a ragged leather book. Serena, she said, tossing her the book. My mother's diary. Serena said as she looked into her notes. The soul Cairn, she said, explaining what it was. Lot of people have names for the in-between of life and death. Naruto said as that was truth, as meeting his father's ghost and fighting zombies from his world showed him that, and the rules seemed more easily bendable here. They enacted the ritual and were surprised to see the floor spin open upward, revealing a portal under the stones. Inside Harkon's own castle. Naruto said as he had to admit the woman was both bold and clever. They all walked down and soon they saw the dimension of souls. Naruto looked in the distance, but apparently, this part of the dimension had a barrier around it. It stretches about 20 miles in a dome shape, he thought, seeing much with his sight. They walked around and saw much of souls, finding some unique congregation books to some of the more tougher forms of necromancy. Serena, being the only necromancer amongst them, read them with Naruto as they walked to a castle. There is a barrier spell in place. Tsunade said to the others, there are 3 binding sources. She said, I'll take the farthest one, May that one, and Anko that one, she said as they split up. Serena sent them a gaze of appreciation as she went closer to the castle, and surely there her mother was. That's odd. Naruto thought to himself as he saw the woman was awake and conscious. She's been here centuries and yet she hasn't lost her human features to hunger, he thought, as that was truly odd and intriguing. He watched as Serena approached and called out to her mother. Naruto heard the mother and daughter converse and heard the mother beckon him. And who is this man? Valerica asked him. Your husband, they both said, resisting the urge to laugh at the look she gave them. Yeah, here's proof. Naruto said as Mara gave him a necklace to use to increase his magic and as a way to get in contact with him and vice versa. Valerica, I am Mara, the one who had blessed your wedding when you married Harkon before becoming vampires, the necklace said, glowing brightly. Naruto Namikaze is the Dragonborn and I have given him your marriage to Harkon over to him. He is now and forever your husband, as is your daughter, she said before the light died down. T the Dragonborn. Valerica said in surprise as she had seen their strength long ago, knowing the power the voice held. His eyes, what is he? She thought in slight panic, seeing there was a power behind them. Serena saw her mother and all she could think about now after missing her was of all the pain she went through as before Anko was put in her stone coffin, she was there alone and in the dark. Literally for hundreds of years. She missed out on so much of her life due to the feud and machinations of her parents. Now then, Naruto said as he looked at his vampire wife, you'll be freed soon enough. I have some of my lovely ladies taking care of the barrier, so I have a question. Where is your elder scroll? Naruto asked, not seeing it on the woman. In here, locked in my garden. Valerica said to him in pure honesty, seeing as lying would not be good for her. After all, this young man seemed to have the favor of powerful deities. I see. Then I have one other question. Why would your ex-husband, a powerful vampire, want a bow with the power of the sun in his grasp? Such a weapon would only kill him, Naruto asked. I believe that he wants to use our BLD, mine and Serena's, as we are daughters of Cold Harbor and our BLD could possibly corrupt the bow. Valerica explained as that was a possibility with their BLD. Corrupt the bow. He wishes to use your BLD to block out the sun, not control it, Naruto said in realization. Okay, now he's starting to see why Mara wanted him to kill Harkon immediately. Aljuin was a threat, but he was off gallivanting and reviving dragons, which took time. This was much more important as this affected all life. They all saw the barrier waver, assuming another tower was taken down. God, I love those girls. Naruto mused as Tsunade and Anko had made such short work of the so-called keepers who maintained the barrier. What will you do to me when I am freed? Valerica asked as she felt nervous. That is the question, isn't it? Naruto mused as he looked over her sinful body. What to do, he said almost teasingly to her before looking to Serena. What do you suggest I do? He asked her. Humiliate her, she has been a proud bee for far too long. She deserves to be your SLV in every sense of the word MSTR. Please put her in her place. Serena suggested with a firm tone of voice showing her seriousness. Serena. Valerica stuttered in shock at what her daughter, her own flesh and BLD, suggested, be done to her. No mother, I see the truth now. You and father are not really that different. You both manipulated and controlled me to your own ends in regards to a prophecy. The only difference between you two is that father became a tyrant. Your tyranny is less certain. Serena glared at her mother. Valerica knew she was in deep trouble as her daughter was giving her to this man. No, he already owns us, she thought as Mara herself spoke through that necklace, and this man was now her husband. Which, to be fair, considering her last husband, Naruto, was an improvement without even knowing him yet. Mostly from the fact he wasn't Harkon. Valerica became nervous when the barrier fell completely. His servants killed the keepers, she thought, impressed. It was one thing to kill the keepers. That in itself was a challenge. It was another thing, however, to kill them that fast. Oh good, the barrier is down, Naruto said with a grin. Walking in, claiming her lips, and groped her peach as if he owned it. Which by Mara's orders he did. I could take you here and now. Claim your body for myself. Use you however I see fit, Naruto whispered in her ear. Valerica whimpered as she was getting turned on, and it shamed her to admit it to herself. But it'll have to wait. We need the scroll first, and above that. I hear something. A familiar sound of flapping wings, Naruto said, turning serious just as Tsunade and Anko had arrived behind him. Valerica knew whom he was speaking of, as that was her warden, so to speak. Having been tricked by the ideal masters of the realm to guard her until her death. Which would be never, given she was an immortal vampire in a realm where time didn't exist. Naruto went outside and saw the dragon. Funny, he's alive, but undead, he thought, guessing this was a possible effect on a living soul being trapped here. Dovahkiin, the dragon said, glaring at Naruto fiercely. You know, just once I'd like to meet a dragon that doesn't want to kill me. Is that too much to ask? Naruto asked with an eye roll. It was becoming cliché. I do not, but I have no choice in the matter. Durnehviir told him. Naruto hated that claim as to take someone's free will. These dumbs sound like Orochimaru, he thought to himself before he withdrew Dragonbane from its sheath. I understand. I will oblige you then. Come. Naruto yelled. Durnehviir could see the multicolored glow from the sword, knowing it was stained in the essence of many dragons. Durnehviir immediately let out a frost breath attack at the Dragonborn, making Naruto dash out of the way before rushing at the undead dragon with his blade. Naruto noticed something when he breathed. He somehow combined magic with his shout. He thought as that was an impressive feat all on its own, as he saw the undead were unique to this realm. The women sat back watching Naruto single-handedly fight off the dragon who guarded the realm. After Naruto's attack, Durnehviir had a few deep cuts. The dragon felt something about this boy. He was reminding him of life. Dovahkiin, I acknowledge your spirit. Please give me everything you are able. I wish to do battle with a true dragon, he said with a smile, as it had been centuries since he had battled a worthy foe as well as a fellow dragon. For the first time it made him feel more alive than ever. If that's what you want, Naruto grinned before he did something that shocked everyone. He stabbed his sword into the dirt before rushing the dragon unarmed. The women were even more impressed as Naruto was fighting with only his body. Not going to use a weapon that would give him an advantage over Durnehviir. Yes. This is what I want. A true challenge. Durnehviir laughed as he lashed out with a bite at Naruto. Naruto sidestepped it, however, with his head reared back. YOL. Naruto said, breathing fire into Durnehviir's mouth as he was about to send out a frost breath attack. Durnehviir choked on his own breath as Naruto prevented him from releasing it. Overpowering his building shout with one of his own. It ends here. Naruto yelled before something strange happened. Dragon-like wings suddenly sprouted from Naruto's back as his fingers turned into razor-sharp claws. The women were in shock as they saw Naruto glow as the dragons did when they were dying. What is this? Valerica asked wide-eyed. She had never heard of a dragonborn doing this. It's as if he's using his own soul. Tsunade said as his soul energy was burning brighter than she ever saw any dragons he had slain. Durnehviir himself felt his eyes widen. This was unprecedented. Unheard of. Invigorating. A human with the BLD of the dragon, but it burned more than any other dragonborn in history. This boy truly was a worthy foe. Naruto let out a fierce roar before his wings flapped twice and he flew at the undead dragon. Slashing Durnehviir's neck open with a swipe of his sharpened claws just as his wings and claws disappeared as he landed. Durnehviir felt his life slip away as he took the slash. Well met Dovahkiin, well met, he thought, unable to speak it due to his cut throat. Suddenly the dragon started to burn away in purple flame. Naruto watched as the entire dragon faded away and he did a small prayer believing he deserved that much. He'll be back though, he thought as he was fully intending on doing whatever he could to free him and kill the rulers of this hellhole. What was that? Serena asked in pure awe looking at Naruto. I call this dragon heart. Naruto said as his heart was that of a dragon, it pumped BLD of a dragon through his veins and now his body was that of a dragon. However, Naruto fell to his knees immediately after taking a step towards the girls. Only to be caught by Anko. Guess dragon heart takes it out of you. Tsunade said as his body had gone through a tremendous change, not unlike her former signature technique. It would take time for his body to adjust. I'm sure in time I'll be able to use it without issue. For now thought that was the first time I ever even used it. I just felt my BLD burning when fighting Durnehviir. Something needed to be let out. They proceeded to gather the scroll and head towards the exit. Until they heard the flapping of wings again. Do we know anything that stays dead? Tsunade thought in annoyance as everything, no matter what they killed, somehow came back to life. Even in their old life. Greetings Connerin. Durnehviir said, bowing his head to him. Connerin? Naruto asked, not familiar with too much in regards to dragon language. Even if his shouts were in, it didn't mean he knew every translation. In your tongue it means vanquisher. Durnehviir said to him. Oh, I'm honored. Naruto said to him, before anything else, I want to know, how the F can I kill your supposed MSTR, he asked him, wanting to kill those idiots. The ideal masters? Durnehviir asked, surprised at that statement. He was NKT expecting that after just wanting to speak with the boy. Husband, I may have a solution. Valerica said, stepping forward. Before my capture I approached the glowing crystals that seem to be main focuses of this realm, or rather the ideal masters themselves, she said, having many theories, but the crystals were connected to the masters themselves, that much she knew. And I am assuming you have been plotting your revenge on them for centuries? Serena asked, or more accurately stated. Yes daughter, I have. There is a reason they wanted a vampire of my caliber. It is because of what we are in the grand scheme. They believe with the power of my BLD they can become Daedra Lords of Death. And by that point they'll have unfettered access to any and all souls for them to devour. Valerica said to them. What if we did it in reverse? What if we used your BLD to taint their crystals? Naruto asked her. I am not sure how powerful my BLD is. Valerica said as a vampire's BLD became more powerful with age and time. Maybe not as it is now, but what about if it was the BLD of two opposing creatures? Naruto asked with a smirk. Valerica was about to ask, but Naruto got off of Anko and ran to her before he bit into her neck, making her scream. However, the bite didn't just make her scream from the pain. She also started to dry hump him as he bit her. So my mother has a biting FTSH, Serena deadpanned. You have one as well. Anko said, knowing all her weak spots. Shut up. Serena said as she blushed, feeling a little envious as she was the only one who was not bitten by Naruto yet. Now go pour your blood on the crystals and taint them. Become the new Daedra of this place. Naruto ordered. By your will, husband, Valerica spoke up with a SBMSSV bow to Naruto before she stood up. They saw the mother run at insane speeds, even faster than a vampire. Before she was back in literally seconds. Having run at each crystal and doused her blood onto them all. They all were able to watch as the purple light from the crystals died and soon glow a black-crimson color, which Valerica glowed as well. They saw some nearby undead approach only to bow to her. So this is the power the Daedric princes feel, Valerica mused as she held up her hand to her face and looked at it glow. The power. It was intoxicating. Yep, now it is time to murder your ex-husband. Serena, it should be daylight outside, correct? Naruto asked, as that was when vampires slept. I believe so, but time has no meaning here, my lord, Serena said. Oh well, either works for me. Naruto said as they went to the exit. Hold Connerin, Durnehviir said, getting Naruto to look at him. I have a request of you. Durnehviir was saying before Valerica spoke. You wish to fly the skies of Tamriel once more. Valerica said as she now had a connection to this place as its Daedra. Yes. I wish to fly the skies once more like a true Dova. I ask that the Dovahkian be bailed to summon me whenever he deems it prudent. In exchange I shall assist him and even teach him some shouts I know of, Durnehviir offered. Let me summon some boons of my land, dear husband. Valerica said as she summoned a set of books. All the creatures of this land are now yours to summon, and Durnehviir, I will bind you to my husband. You will be able to stay in his world, but when you die you will return here only to serve him again, she said, giving him a deal he could not refuse. As Naruto defeated him and killed him, Durnehviir knew he had to serve him. To fly across Tamriel's skies once more and to serve one truly worthy of the blood of the Dova. I accept MSTRS of souls, Durnehviir said with a bow toward Valerica. Naruto felt him share his word, or rather his name, to him. Realizing he would be able to summon him to Tamriel. He now had an undead dragon ally he could summon. One who could even teach him shouts. Alduin wouldn't know what hit him soon enough. Now then, my husband. You have a vampire lord to slay, Valerica said. 30 minutes later. Naruto saw the sun lower as it was not night time, but they still had some time. Where's Aela? Shouldn't she have gotten a bow by now? Anko asked. If she's late, there were complications. Regardless, we don't want Harkon to have the bow either, so the longer she takes the more it could work in our favor, Tsunade pointed out. They proceeded downward, soon entering the castle where they were greeted by hellhounds. Sit. Naruto said as his eyes flashed red as the demonic dogs all lowered their heads in SBMSN to the presence of an alpha. Just as vampires started to enter the dining hall. Who are you? One of the vampires, a dark elf male, asked with a glare. Easy, I am the top of the food chain. You know, this castle is quite nice actually. Decent layout. A bit overcrowded though, Naruto said as everyone saw the magic leaking out of him. The sheer power he was letting off made every single vampire freeze. As if the icy hand of death itself had just passed through them. All but one. An older Nord man with red regal-looking vampiric armor. And who are you to claim this boy? The vampire said, sounding amused as if Naruto was a newborn vampire. The guy who'll be sticking it to your Segbek's wife and hot daughter after I rip the stick out your peach and beat you to death with it, Naruto told him as if talking about the weather. The man glared at Naruto for that remark. Arrogant whelp. You dare mock me? The man growled. His fawn bearing in a rage. Before he suddenly turned into his vampire lord form. A tall, ugly, gray beast with massive clawed hands and wings on his back. Those that wish to live stand down, those who wish to challenge me can die. Naruto said as he glowed in black smoke as he took his vampire lord form, but it was much scarier than any vampire lord. His skin was midnight blue, his wings were actual wings looking like the dragon ones he had moments ago, his claws were sharper than daggers, and his face remained human, making his form still look scary in spite of that. The true terror, however, came from his magic aura. When it was leaking out before, it made people freeze due to its power. In this form, however, it was twice as powerful. Some vampires thought if they attacked him as a group it would be enough to kill him, but to those who watched he merely swiped his arm, cutting them all in half. Their bodies falling to the floor, leaking blood. Only to watch the blood start moving towards Naruto and be absorbed into him, making him even stronger, much to their horror. Serena and Valerica watched in sick satisfaction, seeing Harkon fear the alpha vampire before him. Naruto's eyes glowed red, seeing some vampires kneel and some run to Harkon's side. "Any last words, Harkon? Before I end you?" Naruto asked. "End me? End me? I am the oldest vampire in the world, boy. I am the rightful ruler of the soon-to-be eclipsed world. I am a god. You are nothing." Harkon growled out. "What is a god to a non-believer? I have seen true gods, and you, Harkon, are a joke." Naruto said, as he had met gods and this man was no god. "Enough. Kill him." Harkon ordered his supporters. They didn't move as they cowered. "Pathetic." Naruto said, killing them, leaving Harkon alone. Alone to face a true creature of the night. One-on-one. The oldest vampire lord alive looked to find a quick escape. Live to fight another day, but a clawed hand grabbing his face and slamming him spine first through a table stopped this plan. "Don't worry, Harkon. I won't kill you. I promise that. I have other plans for you," Naruto growled before dragging the man towards a roaring fire and shoving the vampire's face into it, making him scream in anguish. Next day, Valerica was proud of what was occurring, as Naruto had allowed her to deal with Harkon's punishment, as first she went to a wizard who was able to banish Harkon's vampire nature from his body, returning the once proud lord to a pathetic mortal. She then banished him to her soul Cairn, as the castle was the epicenter for many souls there, and there were many vampire souls there that wanted Harkon to pay, but since she controlled the realm, she was stopping him from truly dying, keeping him trapped there and suffering eternally. Every soul getting a shot at her ex-husband in some form to add to his agony. And with him and most of his supporters gone, she could finally return to the castle whenever she wasn't needed to be in charge of overseeing her realm. And she had one man to thank for this. The man who was currently at her throat like a cock's sleeve while he sat in Harkon's old throne. The few that survived, which were only the women, as they had seen his strength and were smart enough to submit, watched as the vampire queen serviced their new king. "I've been waiting for so long to claim you and your daughter for a while, Valerica." Naruto grunted out as his PP slammed into the back of her tight throat, making the vampire mother audibly choke and GG on his fat pages. All while Serena was forced to watch her mother debase herself before the entire vampire court in the room. The women that formerly served Harkon was amazed by the strength and power the man wielded, as well as how he treated his women and how they serviced him like he was a god. Gluck gluck gluck, the wet sounds of Valerica eating of his PP as it hammered into her face echoed throughout the room. "Ah, I should have been next," Enko groaned as she sat in a chair next to Tsunade as the two watched on, drinking some black briar mead together. "You will be, but for now we are taking care of MSTR's orders," Tsunade said as Naruto asked her to take care of the damaged parts of the castle and to look for hidden enemies and eliminate them, which they found in several gargoyles created by Harkon. By RK, did they really start to hate those damn things? "Are the cattle of any use?" Enko asked, referring to the humans downstairs. "Perhaps," Tsunade said, as having them fix everything should be easy enough. However, the cattle were weak as they weren't really fed much. Only enough to stay alive for them to be fed on continuously. She then smiled, seeing the vampire women watch as Valerica was now bouncing on Naruto's PP with no shame as she discarded her clothes and revealed her sinful body for all there to see. Who knew Harkon's woman was such a SLT? Naruto mused as he grabbed at one of Valerica's bouncing, motherly tips and groped it roughly as she bounced her peach against his. Trying to coax his seed to fill her quim as if it was her lifeline. Everyone watched as Naruto filled her stomach with his seed, seeing it expand from the sheer volume he had unleashed into her. Thank you MSTR, Valerica out, feeling his juices flooding her depths, and hoped for some rest from his fierce thrusts. However, her hopes of rest were dashed as she suddenly found herself being moved into again by a still hard Naruto. All of you who have not felt his PP, be ready, for you will service him till he is either bored with you or has felt he has unleashed enough of his seed. Tsunade said, licking her lips, seeing the women untouched by Naruto squirm. Well, the women that hadn't been touched barring Anko. Crazy Bee was just sitting there licking her damned lips at the sight of Naruto tearing open the MLF vampire's CNT with his huge PP. OF. So deep MSTR. Valerica out as she felt her insides being rearranged by Naruto's pounding. Naruto smiled as he bit her neck, drinking her BLD, she tastes different. He thought to himself as she was screaming so loudly it was amazing no one was deaf. And they say I can shout, look at those lungs of yours. Naruto mocked her with a smirk as he grabbed Valerica by her tied black hair and pulled it back, making the woman yelp and squeal like a wild animal as he wrecked her ole. Serena approached the throne and sat on the armrest, but not before stripping herself before everyone. Now completely NDE, how is my mother MSTR? Is she as much of a were as I said she was? She asked, wondering if he was pleased having her mother as his servant. Oh, she is. Perhaps even more whorish than your words made her out to be. Isn't that right, my pet? Naruto asked Valerica as he pulled her hair back once more to make her scream loudly again. She isn't the only one MSTR, these vampire SLTS are all dripping, I can smell it. Serena said as all the vampire women glared at her. As can I, my dear. Every single one of them is. Including you, Naruto said, looking at Serena as her mother bounced on his PP like a wild animal. Of course I am, husband. Serena said, opening her legs, showing her wet CNT to him. And yet you act like you're of a higher standing than the other vampires here. Perhaps even all of my women, Naruto said as he stood up from the throne but kept his grip on Valerica's legs as he continued to F her as he turned to face Serena. Are you going to punish me? Serena asked, having a mini CLMX, as no matter what, even if he punished her, she'd enjoy his touch like it was a touch from the gods. I will deal with your arrogance soon enough. But first, Naruto said as he increased his speed as he hammered away at Valerica's CNT. Making the woman's screams go louder and louder to the point several wine glasses shattered from the frequency of her squealing. Soon, however, Naruto leaked once more inside the vampiric mother. Everyone saw Valerica drop to the floor, twitching in pleasure as Naruto's juices gushed out of her, making a small puddle under her PP. Someone bring me hellhound collars and leashes, Naruto ordered as his gaze never left Serena. Tsunade went to the nearest hellhound and removed its collar and presented it to Naruto. Naruto grabbed it and placed it around the down Valerica's neck. Understand this, Serena, her fate will soon be yours as well, Naruto told the younger vampire before he grabbed her by the back of her head and pulled her into a kiss. She was the strongest of us and now she is his pet bee. All the vampire women who served Harkon thought as Valerica was not someone to brush aside, as her strength may not have been Harkon's, but it was the strongest of all of theirs. And after Naruto had changed her, they knew she was far beyond any of them. To see her fall so easily, it made them shudder at what he would do to them. Naruto pulled his head back from his kiss with Serena before he moved her head to the side and exposed her pale neck. In a single second, his fangs suddenly sank into her flesh. This made Serena scream as her BLD felt like it was changing. Changing to something more. Something far stronger. You are mine now, Serena, forever. You are no longer a daughter of Cold Harbor. You are now a bee for me. Naruto said to her as she was his no one else. I understand, Daddy, Serena spoke up without thinking. Too lost with intoxication from her new power to call him a title that he had already earned. She had instead called him something without thinking. Show our lord the proper respect, you be, Tsunade glared before Naruto held up a hand. stopping the blonde Senju from going on a rant. It's fine, Tsunade. I actually like her calling me that. It makes me feel like I'm pissing off her actual father from beyond the Cairn, Naruto said, amused at the new title. Besides, I am married to her mother after all. It's only fitting that she calls me that. Right, Valerica? Naruto asked the downed and out of it MLF at his feet. Yes, husband. Valerica said, panting in heat like the bee she was just collared as. Tsunade felt her rage build as she felt like she was lagging behind, as Naruto had 2 wives and 1 fiancé, yet she was only his B. She wanted to be higher than the other girls. Hell, she wasn't even his number 1 B according to his taunts. As of this moment she had lost that particular spot to Kurenai, making her furious as the illusion B was so much weaker than her in their old world. Good. Now then, Naruto grinned savagely before he grabbed Serena and moved her so that she was bent over with her hands on the floor, but her legs were still straightened as he leaped up behind the former daughter of Cold Harbor with his PP rubbing against her folds. Serena was burning up. A new feeling that she never had as a vampire. It made her feel more alive than ever before. She wanted to be like a real woman, as Naruto gave her life and made her life worth living. With no warning whatsoever, Naruto plunged his PP into her moist CNT. Fully hilting himself inside the former vampire as he grabbed her peach with one hand and her swing tips with the other. All while the woman as he used her in front of the crowd watching her. You're next, all of you. Serena said to the vampires, you will swear fealty and fidelity to our lord and take your rightful place as his bees. This castle shall be his home and you will do whatever he asks of you. Is that understood? She yelled loudly, trying to look stern, but WTH the pleasured smile, it was hard to take her as seriously, but the message was still clear. Hey, prove yourself worthy of ordering them around to me first, Naruto told her as he preferred his women know their places. There were those who were in charge after him and those who were simply there to be used or please him. But either way everyone either proved themselves or not. Yes, daddy. Serena out as Naruto hammered away at her TWT. His hips slapping against her bouncy peach and the sounds of flesh hitting flesh echoing throughout the hall. He's an animal. He's going to breed us like hellhound bees. He'll destroy us. Vampire and werewolf, I want that power. I will bend over for him for the rest of my life to get that power. Were the thoughts of the vampire women as they watched Naruto use Serena before their very eyes. Watching as her eyes rolled into the back of her head and tongue hung out of her mouth as Naruto pounded into her like a deranged beast. His grunts and the sounds of primal rutting mixed with Serena's yelping and mewls of pleasure, making all in the hall start to shudder and squirm. Hoping they'd be next to feel that pleasure. DMN. You're tighter than your mother. Naruto grunted out as he pawed at Serena's swinging tips. Gripping them roughly as she squealed and squealed. It's because I am new. Serena thought to herself as her mother slept with her father and married him, meaning she had very poor choices till Naruto. Tell daddy how much you want his juices. Tell me, Naruto ordered as he grabbed Serena's hair and tugged it back, making her arch her back from his manhandling of her supple body. I want it. I want it. I want it. Serena screamed out repeatedly. Desperately wanting her husband's juices to stain her inner walls and mark them as his. Hey, good girl. Naruto chuckled before, with one last pull of her hair and one last slam of his hips, fired his thick load deep inside her. Flooding her depths with his hot juices. Valerica crawled to the vampire women, enjoying the show SLTS. You'll need to earn his seed if you want to be his. You won't be drinking BLD after you've tasted him, she said with a grin. Her grin was taken off her face, however, when she felt her leash being tugged back towards the throne by Naruto. I didn't say I was done with you, where, Naruto grunted out before he shoved his PP once more into Valerica's throat. Making the women of the hall watch as he took the mother and daughter the rest of the night. Next day. With the capture of the vampire castle, Naruto felt the need to expand his territories and owned buildings in other holds. I should also find a way to fix that DMN castle, he thought, as the castle needed much remodeling as it had way too many openings all on its own. Such was to be expected with the passage of time, however. As Naruto made mental preparations for what needed rebuilding, Enko suddenly appeared kneeling before Naruto in a swarm of bats. "Yes, Enko?" Naruto asked curiously, wondering what she needed. "There are 5 Stormcloak soldiers outside the castle gates," Enko said. "The F do they want?" Naruto thought as they were still in his castle. No way in hell they know about me killing Harkon, he thought, as there was no one on this island who had left its land. "Dragonborn. Come on out. We know you are in there." A loud male voice yelled from outside the castle gates as Naruto and Enko approached. "Okay, time to kill these idiots painfully. Wanna help, Enko?" Naruto asked her as she followed him outside as he transformed into his wolf form and her into her vampire lord form. "Oh, with pleasure." Enko grinned, her vampire fangs glistening and eyes shining in anticipation. 5 minutes later. "If you tell me how you knew I was here, I will stop my hellhounds from nibbling on you," Naruto said as all the hellhounds were wagging their tails. "We will never betray the true High King, you pretender to the throne." One of the Stormcloaks yelled before he screamed in pain as a hellhound bit off his wrist. "Enko?" Naruto asked her before she went over and ripped the man's arm, leg, and PP off before bringing a torch to cauterize the wound. "You coward. You send beasts unaware to do your own dirty work." Another Stormcloak yelled. "And Ulfric sends his weak soldiers here to try and kill him? Who is the real coward?" Enko said as they would not bleed out on her watch. "He does not know we are here." A female Nord yelled. "Alright, honesty finally." Naruto said, looking at her. "How did you know I was here?" he asked her. "Say nothing. Ack." Another Stormcloak yelled as a hellhound bit his throat. "We have spies in Solitude. We are a small unit waiting outside the city," the woman said to him. Must have been for the guards to not notice them. Naruto thought to himself. He'd have to crack down on security when he returned to Elisif. Oh well, problems for later. "You traitor." The last living male of this group yelled just as Enko grabbed him and pulled his jaw off in a show of strength and shower of BLD. "Enko, erase her mind and leave her in the closest hold that won't kill her," Naruto said, seeing the woman turn to bats, taking the other away. The hellhounds loved their new MSTR as he properly fed them. "So some idiots tried to kill me for Ulfric, but not on his orders. I'll deal with him later," Naruto said darkly. 2 hours later. Naruto returned to Solitude atop Shadowmere and went to explore the hold. Many looked at the horse in awe of how terrifying and regal it looked. Sends a message. Naruto thought as people gossiped everywhere, so this should spread like wildfire. As he explored the hold, Naruto had seen many people that had great potential, but thought they were being undermined. Either undermined by lack of confidence or the machinations of others. Few minutes later. As Naruto was heading towards the Blue Palace, he spotted a bizarre man muttering to himself. Is he Daedra? Naruto thought, as his very presence was chaotic to say the least, even for his senses. OMSTR, please return soon, he heard the whining muttering of the man before Naruto approached him. Who are you? Naruto asked as he was curious as to who this was. Before seeing the beggar suddenly in front of him. You'll help me, won't you? You help people. The clearly crazy beggar exclaimed with life now shining in his eyes as he approached Naruto. Naruto was unsure of what to say, but the man just decided to continue speaking. My MSTR has abandoned me. Abandoned his people. And nothing I say can change his mind. Now he refuses to even see me. He says I interrupt his vacation. It's been so many years, won't you please help? The man begged pleasingly. Something's off about this guy. Naruto thought, nodding to him. Oh wonderful. MSTR went to meet with an old friend in the old Pelagius wing of the Blue Palace. Oh, that's right. You'll need the hip bone. The beggar exclaimed. The what now? Naruto asked, baffled before being handed a literal hip bone by the man. There we go. You'll also need a key. One of the maids or the Jarl's steward should have it. Good luck. The crazy man said before walking off. Wait, that doesn't dash, Naruto was saying before he looked down at the hip bone. What the hell did I get myself into? Naruto sighed out in exasperation before heading towards the palace. Might as well get this over with, he muttered. 3 minutes later. Naruto entered the Blue Palace and was quite impressed with the appearance. Sure, he was engaged to Elisif technically, but he had never actually stepped foot into the palace. As he looked around, he spotted Elisif in a meeting with her court. And what news of the spy in the palace? Elisif asked her gathered court. The guards have him detained, my Jarl. To think our palace cook was feeding information to the Stormcloaks for coin, a Nord man named Falk Firebeard. He could have killed us, Elisif said with a firm tone. The man had access to fairy food. He could have easily have poisoned them and had them killed for Ulfric if they so deemed. Indeed. Luckily we have a new chef coming from Castle Dour to replace Oder. Bryling. One of the court's thanes said. Naruto nodded, but saw someone was staring at him, the court wizard Sibyl. He knew she was a vampire and could possibly tell her queen was now different than before. Her silence on the matter and staring drew others to look towards Naruto, making Elisif smile. Welcome to the Blue Palace, my beloved, Elisif said as she stood from her throne and approached Naruto. Ignoring her court for the moment. Welcome, Lord Naruto. Falk Firebeard said with a bow of respect to the Dragonborn. Why don't we disband this meeting for today? Elisif suggested as she gazed at her lover and future king once Ulfric lay dead before them, a thought that frequently appeared in her dreams. As you wish, my lady, Bryling stated with a bow before she and the others walked away. Leaving only him, Elisif, and Sibyl, who stayed behind still staring at Naruto. You were dismissed, Sibyl, Elisif said simply. I am sorry, my lady, but you are no longer my ruler. Sibyl said as she approached Naruto and got on one knee. I swear my eternal fidelity to you, Mstr, she said, not even raising her head. Well, that was quick. Naruto chuckled, amused at the vampire at his feet. She didn't even hesitate to swear loyalty to him. You killed Harkon. I have hated the man for centuries when he turned me. Sibyl said as annoyance filled her tone when she said his name. I see. As much as I would love to break you in here and now as my new pet, I have something to take care of in the Pelagius wing for the moment, Naruto said simply to the two women. What? But beloved, that wing has been closed off for years. No one is allowed in it, Elisif said with wide eyes. It has gained my attention. Naruto said, not knowing what else to say, wanting to go to that part of the palace. But Elisif was saying until Naruto's eyes turned to her, glowing with power. I will investigate it, but try and defy me and I'll be putting that mouth of yours to actual use, Naruto told them. That sounds like a reward, not a punishment, both women thought, their lower lips moistening. Naruto's enhanced senses smelt their arsehole, making him chuckle. Alright, better idea, Elisif, call the maids with the keys here, Naruto ordered. Elisif didn't even think she could disobey and summoned her maids to her and got the key. Be safe, Mstr, she said, giving him the key. Naruto took it with a grin before looking at the four women. Elisif, why don't you have them prepared for my return in the Jarl's bed chamber, Naruto told his lover before heading towards the Pelagius wing. Elisif nodded. You may no longer serve me, but you will assist me. Elisif told Sibyl, who nodded. You too as well, Elisif told the two maids who were in the dark of what was going on. Pelagius wing. 15 minutes later. Naruto had been walking through the abandoned rooms, stairwells, and corridors of the Pelagius wing of the castle, just trying to find this homeless man's Mstr. Soon, however, he made it to the second floor of the wing in a hallway with red and yellow carpet draped along it. A bit tacky, I guess, Naruto said, looking at the carpet before suddenly as he walked the halls, everything went blank. Unknown field. Naruto woke up in a strange place. What looked like a field with a large picnic table. More tea, Pelly, my dear. A man with a half-purple, half-orange suit with a thick accent asked from one of the chairs across the table to another man. Oh, I couldn't. It goes right through me. Besides, I have so many things to do. So many detractors and undesirables, naysayers, buffoons. My headsman hasn't slept in 3 days. The man said. He is a Daedra. Naruto thought as this man purple and orange suited man had the same kind of power, but it was chaotic like that man's was from earlier. You are far too HRD on yourself, my dear, sweet, homicidally insane Pelagius. What would the people do without you? Dance? Sing? Smile? Laughter, grow old? You are the best septim that has ever ruled. Well, except for that Martin fellow, but he turned into a dragon god, and that's hardly sporting. You know, I was there for that whole sordid affair. Marvelous time. Butterflies, BLD, a fox, a severed head and the cheese. To die for. The white-haired, purple and orange-suited man said. Yes, yes, as you've said countless times before. The other man said. And he's clearly crazy, best not let any of my girls try and kill him. Naruto thought as he wasn't sure if the man was crazy or his powers made him crazy. Harumph. Well, if you're going to be like that, I think it's best I take my leave. A good day to you, sir. I said good day. The white-haired man said. Yes. Leave me to my ceaseless responsibilities and burdens. The other man said before suddenly vanishing. Hello? Naruto asked him. I was brought here to assist you, he said, thinking it'd be best to keep it simple and short. Assist me? With what? My bags? I left them elsewhere, boy. Or no, wait, maybe I fed them to that mud crab. Bah. Who cares? Do you even know who I am, laddie? Or where you even are? Well, do ya? Go on, take a guess. I haven't got all day. Well, actually I do, the crazy man said, chuckling like a madman. And people think I'm nuts. Naruto thought simply as this man was all over the place. Well, from what I've seen you're a madman, Naruto said deadpan. Wrong. Actually you're half right. I'm a god. A mad god. The mad god. Shiagarath. Daedric Prince of Madness. Charmed. The now named Shiagarath said with an eccentric bow and then started to randomly dance. Naruto was saying until Shiagarath cut him off. Do you mind? I'm busy doing the fish stick. It's a very delicate state of mind. Shiagarath said while still randomly dancing until he suddenly stopped to sit down. Do these old bones don't move like they used to, Shiagarath said, taking a breath of air. I was just sent to bring you back from your vacation, Naruto sighed, feeling a headache coming. Oh really? By whom? No wait, don't tell me. I want to guess. Was it Molag? No. Little Tim the toy maker's son? No wait, was it the ghost of King Lysandus? Wait. I got it. It was Stanley. That talking grapefruit from Passwall. Shiagarath yelled aloud, getting silence. Wrong on all accounts, huh? Oh well. I actually don't want to know. It ruins the surprise. Shiagarath cackled. Okay, look, are you gonna leave or what? Naruto asked. Oh. You think you, tiny, expendable little mortal, can go up against an all-powerful god? Shiagarath asked with a firm tone before his eyes met Naruto's eyes. Naruto didn't back down from the mad god's gaze. He met it head-on without hesitation. The two held their gazes for a moment before Shiagarath broke it. Ha ha ha. Oh, you are a fun mortal. Haven't had one as interesting as you in a long time. Alright, you want me to leave, right? Here's what's gonna happen. I'll leave. Holiday is over. Time to return to the humdrum day today. On one condition. You have to find the way out first. Good luck with that, Shiogarath said with amusement in his voice. Alright, what's the catch? Naruto asked, knowing there was more to it than that. Ha! I do love it when the mortals know they're being manipulated. Makes things more fun. Take a look around, lad. Do you know where you are? Where you well and truly are? Shiogarath asked before continuing on before Naruto could speak. Welcome to the deceptively verdant mind of Pelagius. The third. That's right. You're in the mind of a dead, homicidally insane monarch. Shiogarath cackled out. Naruto didn't react as he figured he'd be fine with his powers. Now I know what you're thinking. Can I rely on my swords and my spells and my sneaking? Sure, or. You can use the Wabbajack. Shiogarath yelled, handing Naruto a black staff with multiple screaming faces on it. Ha! Ha! Didn't see that coming now, did ya? Shiogarath asked. Naruto sighed before seeing 3 archways around him. Figuring this was a part of finding a way out, he headed down one on the left. Oh, good choice. For me. I do find everyone being out to get you so terribly entertaining. You may find it less so, Shiogarath's voice echoed in Naruto's ears as he traveled down the path. You see, Pelagius' mother was, let's say, unique. Though I suppose in the grand scheme of things she was fairly average for a septim. That woman wielded fear like a cleaver. Or did she wield a cleaver and make people fear her? I never get that part right. Oh, but she taught her son well. Pelagius learned from a young age that danger could come from anywhere. At any time, delivered by anyone. The objective here is very simple, you simpleton. Use your Wabbajack to defeat the enemy while they do the same. As Naruto came up to the top of a wall looking down at 2 storm Atranax fighting and across the way saw 3 people in dwarven armor looking down at the fight below. Naruto easily saw through this game and sent a blast from the Wabbajack at the people in dwarven armor. 2 turned into wolves who then attacked the one that hadn't transformed. Ripping into him with their teeth and claws. Oh ho, well done. With the threat gone, Pelagius is under the delusion that he is safe. Which means you've helped him. Sort of, and that we're that much closer to home. Shiogarath told him as Naruto went back towards the table in the clearing before heading to the archway at the top left of the clearing. You've headed down the path of dreams. Unfortunately for you, Pelagius suffered night terrors from a young age. All you have to do is find something to wake our poor Pelagius up. You'll find his terrors easy to repel but persistent. Shiogarath said as Naruto upon a bed in the middle of a field with a sleeping Pelagius in it. Naruto blasted him with the Wabbajack and summoned a wolf to attack the sleeping monarch. Naruto then hit the wolf with the Wabbajack, turning it into a pig. Naruto sighed as he realized he was gonna be doing this for a while. 2 minutes later. Naruto finally blasted the last of the night terrors summoned by the Wabbajack into yet another harmless thing, and Pelagius finally woke up from the tedious event. Well, that's something to crow about. With Pelagius moving up and about, we'll be moving on home in no time. Shiogarath said as Naruto made for the picnic table once more before making his way towards the final archway. Ah, now this is a sad path. Pelagius hated and feared many things. Assassins, wild dogs, the undead, pumpernickel, but the deepest, keenest hatred was for himself. The attacks he makes on himself can be seen here fully, they are always carried out on the weakest part of his fragile self. The self-loathing enhances Pelagius' anger. Ah! But his self-confidence will shrink with each hit. You must bring the two into balance. Shiogarath explained as Naruto saw Pelagius marked as confidence being attacked by 2 spirits dubbed anger and self-loathing. Naruto blasted them all with the Wabbajack until the confidence was much bigger and taller while the self-loathing and anger spirits shrank. Wonderfully done. Pelagius is finally ready to love himself. And continue hating everyone else, Shiogarath said as Naruto made his way back to Shiogarath. Okay, it's done. I fixed this guy's mind. Naruto said as dealing with all this bullshit was weird and exhausting. Fixed is such a subjective term. I think treated is far more appropriate, don't you? Like one does to a rash or an arrow in the face. Bah. No matter. Heartless mortal that you are, you've actually succeeded and survived. So I am forced to uphold my end of the bargain. So congratulations. You're free to go. I have been known to change my mind, so go really. Shiogarath said before looking away from Naruto. Pelagius Septim III. Once the mad emperor of Tamriel, now so boringly sane. I always knew he had it in him. Well, guess it's back to the Shivering Isles for me. The trouble Haskell can get up to while I'm away simply boggles the mind. Let's make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Clothes. Check. Beard. Check. Luggage. Luggage. Where did I leave my luggage? Shiogarath asked before the crazy beggar in Solitude was summoned in front of the table via a portal. MSTR. You've taken me back. Does this mean we're going home? Oh, happy times. I can't wait to dash, the beggar was cheering, but Shiogarath cut him off. Yes, that's quite enough celebration. Let's send you ahead, shall we? Shiogarath asked before making the beggar disappear in another portal before turning to Naruto. As for you, my little mortal minion, feel free to keep the Wabajack. As a symbol of my just take the DMN thing. You take care of yourself now. And if you ever find yourself in New Sheath, do look me up. We can share a strawberry tort. Tada. Shiogarath bade farewell, cackling as Naruto suddenly found himself back in the hallway of the Pelagius wing. Blue Palace. Naruto had to admit he was glad to be back. He stored the Wabajack away and went to find Elisif and the other ladies awaiting his return. He walked through the luxurious palace on his way to the Jarl's chambers. Every guard and servant gave Naruto bows of respect as he walked past them. Before long, Naruto came to the Jarl's bedchambers and opened the door. Naruto saw Elisif with her maids, chef, and court mage all naked and as corny as sin from what he could smell off them. I see you brought an unexpected guest for our fun, Naruto said with a grin, looking over at the new chef. An imperial woman with tan skin and short brown hair. I wanted her to learn where to get a certain ingredient from you and that she should make sure it's fresh. Elisif said as she wanted her chef to know where to get her milk and ingredients for her dairy for her meals. I see. Well done. Now who wishes to go first? Naruto asked. Me, MSTR, please bite me, I no longer wish to be a vampire of Harkons. I wish to be yours. Sybil begged with a bow of reverence towards Naruto. Very well. Stand Sybil Stentor and face me, Naruto ordered. Sybil stood before the man that brought the downfall of someone she dearly hated and felt him bite her neck, and soon she felt it. The incredible power overflowing within her. Her vampiric blood burning and changing within her body before she fell to her knees before Naruto. How do you feel? Naruto asked her. Wonderful. Sybil said, loudly as her body felt incredible, as if magica was pouring out of every pore of her body. Good. Now your first true order from me, my pet, strp me of my armor, Naruto ordered. Sybil used her incredible speed and delicately removed his armor. Unfastening each and every buckle before his NDE form was left on full display. His muscles glistening before the assembled women as they gazed at his hardened pages. Their CNTS sopping wet at the sight before them. Elisif missed his PP more than anything. She dearly wanted him to F her in her palace in every square inch of it. He could F her on her throne before all assembled if he deemed it. That was how badly she wanted it. Erdie blushed red at the sight of the massive PP and muscled body. She always hoped for some gallant hero to whisk her away for a life of romance and adventure. Now she was basically going to become a juice dumpster for a gallant and brave warrior. Not the ending she originally wanted, but forgetting that PP inside her she'd make do. Una never really liked anything. She hated pretty much everyone. Especially Erdie due to her delusions of being swept away by some shining knight in armor. But even she was taken aback by the sheer size of Naruto's bitchbreaker. Gianna gaped open-mouthed at the sight of Naruto's sausage. Such a massive PP made her absolutely shudder at the thought of it opening her holes up. While part of her was afraid. Another part wanted nothing more than to bend over and let him breed her. Sybil was always a proper lady even as a vampire, but she wanted nothing more than to choke and slobber all over his member. She in shock as Naruto thrust it into her mouth. All but choking herself on his PP as he brutally started to face F her. No warning or restraint for him. He saw what he wanted and took it. Like a real man. You all better get close and watch. 'Cause soon you'll all be in the same position as Sybil here, Naruto told the assembled women as he mercilessly slammed his PP down the former vampire's tight throat. He's right and you will do it and enjoy it. Eselif said as there was no way they wouldn't feel pleasure from Naruto's PP and as her subjects she didn't care if they were married. They would pleasure the Dragonborn no matter what. If he told them to strp they would. He wanted them to bounce up and down. They would. He wanted to walk them like a pet through Solitude while collared and leashed. Then they better bark as well or there'd be hell to pay on her title as Jarl. I will queen bee. Sybil thought as she tasted his pre-juices and it was delicious. She would drink as much as he would offer willingly. If he ordered her to lick any that spilled onto the floor then she would. She was his to use. And she was fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. Get ready SLT. Naruto grunted out as he felt he was ready to let out his first load down Sybil's throat. They all heard the loud swallows coming from the court mage and were amazed she could swallow so much. He's going to breed us. Sybil thought as she could tell his ball were still full and ready to unleash load after load. Well done Sybil. Now then who should I have first? Naruto asked aloud musing as he looked over to the other assembled women. He could have Sybil first technically but he wanted to see which of these bees was the most desperate for his PP aside from Elisif. I will my lord. If the queen wishes for me to milk you, I will need to learn. Gianna spoke up as she raised her hand. Naruto grinned at the chef before walking over to the Jarl's bed where Gianna knelt down. Elisif was pleased her chef was going to learn to collect her MSTR seed, give it to her in any ol MSTR, I will eat it no matter where it's from or in, she said as Naruto's juice was a gift, one not to be wasted. Which ol should I use then? Oh I know. Naruto grinned before he pushed Gianna onto her hands and knees. Then Naruto placed his PP at the entrance to her peach before spearing it inside of her. Gianna having her peach penetrated for the first time, please MSTR if you ever wish to have your hunger sated please to the kitchen, she out as Naruto reshaped her peach for his PP's personal use. Oh I will. Have no doubt about that my dear, Naruto smirked at her before he smacked her peach with his palm. Leaving a nice red handprint on her plump peach cheek before he continued to savagely move into her tight peach. Gianna was getting used to his PP and her peach, but Naruto switched it up switching between her peach and her PP with each move. He's breaking into my WMB, she thought as he would properly impregnate her with how much he let out down Sybil's throat. Her thought seemingly leaked true as Naruto let his second load out inside of her CNT. Flooding her depths and making her scream from pleasure as his hot essence filled her. As soon as he was done he pulled out of the CC chef and let her fall face first into the bed, her peach raised in the air and looked towards Elisif. Bon appamelons my queen, Naruto said smirking. Elisif went over to Gianna and began to drink all the juices out of her as a vampire would BLD, it never loses its flavor, she thought very pleased at once more tasting her lord's juices. Naruto turned his gaze from the juice-hungry future High Queen to the two maids on the Jarl's bed. Now what to do to you two? Naruto mused looking at Una and Erdie seeing the dislike both had for the other, my bees will get along, he thought as while he tolerated the rivalries, he would make them understand what their place was. A little competition for who became his head bee. That was fine. But active dislike or even hatred amongst his bees? No chance in oblivion. Naruto walked over to the two glaring maids and placed his PP in between their faces. You want to be mine? Then you two better kiss and get along. Naruto ordered. Both women blushed but caught his meaning. They kissed the other with his PP between their lips. Their tongues eating and slobbering on his length as the two maids depravedly made out with each other with his thick PP in the middle. Naruto smirked down at the two maids. Now isn't it good to get along? Naruto asked with a teasing tone at the two. Both blushed, not meeting the other's gaze, not wanting to admit how hot it made them kissing the other. They screamed in surprise when Naruto brought them to the bed. Placing Eri on top of Yuta, Naruto slammed his PP inside Una's CNT, making her scream as he started to move into her. Eri silence her screams, Naruto ordered the other maid. Eri kissed Una both into the other's mouth as their tongues danced in their mouths. Their hatred for each other fueling their lust as the two made out. Naruto seeing the two maids making out smirked as he pulled out of Una before spearing his PP into Eri's CNT. He's going to breed us, they both thought, as it was common amongst maids to become mistresses to the lord of the home. They both knew that they were most likely not leaving the palace unimpregnated with how much Naruto could leak. Soon Naruto let his load out inside of Eri's CNT, and when she became full he slammed into Una's, breaching her WMB, giving her the same amount as he did Eri before the two maids shuddered and passed out in each other's embrace. How adorable. From enemies to worse. Naruto mused as he pulled out of the two maids, realizing his still hardened PP. We are still at your disposal, my king. Elisif said with Sybil, her CN still untouched. I believe I've kept you waiting long enough, my salty queen, Naruto said as he beckoned Elisif to him. I live to serve my king, as they are. What do you wish for me to do? Elisif asked, wondering how he wanted her and what he wanted to do to her. On your back, spread your legs, Naruto ordered with a firm tone. Elisif did as she was told and spread her legs for her MSTR. Sybil, who do you serve? Naruto asked her. Only you, my lord. I would gladly abandon my duties if it meant I could serve and please you. Sybil said, lustfully wanting to service any longing he had. Good answer. For now just watch what I do to Elisif, as you'll be next. Naruto smirked before he slammed his PP into Elisif's waiting CNT, spearing her with his length once more. The Jarl of Solitude allowed from having her MSTR's PP once more enter her. Ah. MSTR. I missed this. I. She started to stutter as her orgasm hit full force. New Shioth. The Daedric Prince of Madness cackled loudly as he left one other gift for the Dragonborn that just now was activated. Now alls he would need to is wait and see the results of his actions. With Naruto. What the hell? Naruto thought seeing Elisif glow similarly to how he did when slaying a dragon, but he didn't feel like he was losing anything at all. Fuss ro da. Elisif shouted at the top of her lungs, smashing a hole through multiple levels above them. Naruto was amazed by what Elisif just turned him on more, that Daedric Prince, he thought, assuming it was his doing. Guess my lovers can now use shouts, he thought, thinking he now had to F them in order for them to get it, which was alright with him. It wasn't like he wasn't already doing that after all. What was that? Sybil asked in shock at what her former employer just did. Apparently my lovers gain access to shouting after I've bedded them. Courtesy of the Daedric Prince of Madness, Naruto told her. Sybil was wondering what shout she'd get, but was more interested in Naruto F her to the point of exhaustion. As she mused this thought, she saw Naruto pull out of the panting Elisif and suddenly tackle Sybil to the bed, slamming his hard PP into her tight TWT. Get ready to not be able to move for a few days. We have all night for me to break in all of you, Naruto said aloud as he pounded away at the mewling former vampire beneath him. Naruto would plow each of the women Jarl's bedchamber all night long. The sounds of their and screams heard all across not only the palace but all of Solitude. Next day, Elisif was covered in Naruto's seed and saw her staff was in a similar state, but something rushed to her mind. My MSTR has given me an amazing gift, she thought with a smirk, as with this power she'd give Ulfric a taste of what he did to her former husband. She may love Naruto with all her heart and soul, but that didn't mean a small part of her didn't love Toriag. On top of that, Toriag deserved justice. After all, Ulfric murdered the original High King and then has been claiming the throne belongs to him. He was no hero to the people. Just a power-hungry tyrant who covets the throne. But now she could avenge him and Naruto could train her. After she has Naruto F her brains out some more. After all, he was gonna spend a week or two in solitude before moving on to the next hold. She may as well enjoy his company as much as possible while he's here. Solitude. It was the day after Naruto's trip to the Pelagius Wing, followed by his night of mind-numbing, bed-breaking SEC with Elisif and her servants, all of whom could not stop wanting to tend to his every need in various manners. Their minds may have been willing, but the flesh could only take so much of a pounding from him. And so he was currently out and about in solitude, investigating the soldiers and guards of the hold. Checking in on their training and duties to make sure that the hold was being protected to the highest extent possible. Be it dragon or stormcloak, he wished for the hold to be prepared for an attack. And what he saw was mediocre at best. The troops were laughable at best, and so were the defenses. He was guessing that Elisif's mage had more responsibilities than he thought if Ulfric hadn't taken this place over yet. Or perhaps Ulfric was just incompetent. Bah, he'd question that later. For now he was just disappointed with the lackadaisical guard, so he wanted to head to the source of what the problem was. Or sources rather in this case. Naruto went to Solitude's guardhouse to speak with the captain of the guard. Captain Aldous. What he expected was a dependable guard captain trying to train his men. And surprisingly he got exactly that. The man was clearly stressed but trying his best to train his men up. However, it was the men they were bringing on that seemed like more of the problem. This is why nobles shouldn't have a say in military matters, he thought to himself, making a note to speak with some of the thanes of the hold later. Pleased at the very least with Captain Aldous making attempts to train up his men, he moved on to the blacksmith. The man who makes the weapons and armor for the legion and guards in general. The quality was average at best, as the man making it seemed ill-equipped both mentally and financially, as the things he made were both waste and simple. Perhaps he was just trying to make as many as possible to deal massive orders, which was understandable but also seems to lead to another problem he had with this system. Why the hell isn't there ever more than one blacksmith making weapons for the DMN army in the DMN capital? It makes no sense. Hell, even an assistant to the one guy making arms and armor would be a good idea. It's not like the Legion doesn't have smiths elsewhere making weapons at soldier camps. Surely they could spare one or two to help produce quality weapons. When Naruto brought up that idea to the smith Behrand, however, the man was less than pleased. Maybe it was his pride and or his stubbornness, but for a man who claimed he was absolutely loyal to Elisif and her choices, he didn't really seem eager to hear his ideas. So even with soldiers' lives on the line, and your king telling you that you should have helped, you would refuse to take the offer because of some foolish pride? Naruto asked. You are not king yet. Behrand said to him simply, I am a king's man and I am loyal to the queen and Solitude. But I am not loyal to you who would usurp the throne of a great king like Toriag or steal his grieving widow, Behrand told him with a glare. Steal her? From a man who had been killed in battle? I stole her from no one. She wished to be with me. Naruto said, as it was Elisif's idea to announce a marriage, blindsiding him in front of all of Solitude and by extension all of Skyrim. You may be the Dragonborn, but that does not make you worthy of having the throne. Behrand said to him, as he knew the legends well. My BLD does not grant me it, though it helps. My skill and power do, and Elisif knows that. Now I'll ask one more time. Will you accept an assistant or help so our legion may be better equipped and you would relieve your workload somewhat and spend more time with your family? Or will you defy this order? Naruto asked, having grown tired of speaking with this arrogant man as if he knew best despite being a simple smith. I'd rather die than take orders from a false king. Behrand told Naruto defiantly. You are not worthy of your station, boy, Behrand told him hotly. Sai, you know I really did try with you. Naruto said before he grabbed the man quickly by his throat and lifted him off the ground with one hand. I don't want to harm you. You're an old fool at most, but you've done nothing illegal. However, your attitude is pissing me off, you fossil. You're starting to give me no choice though, Naruto warned him. Ha! You stupid brat. You have no honor as a warrior. You're no better than Ulfric. No. You're even less. At least Ulfric was man enough to fight our king one-on-one. The Nord way. Behrand yelled. Didn't he murder the former king? Naruto thought. He wondered if this guy was suffering from some kind of dementia, as Ulfric murdered the former king with a shout. They didn't fight despite Ulfric challenging him. So you compare me to the man who you killed, your king that you're oh so loyal to, but say his killer is more honorable than myself? And why? Because I'm the one who's tilling Elisif's field now. Naruto asked, or are you just a pathetic old fool? Go to oblivion. Behrand said to him with a glare as he grabbed at the hammer on his forge and took a swing into Naruto's face with the hammer. Only two look on in shock as his hammer broke apart on contact. I'm a lot tougher than iron, pal. Naruto said as he had taken a few blows to the head, but this man's weapon was truly CRP. Do your worst, false king. I have my honor unstained. Can you say the same? Behrand asked defiantly before suddenly gasping as Naruto's grip on his throat tightened and he started to choke the Nord man. Yeah, pretty much. Naruto said as he both acted when necessary and reacted when he needed to. Soon enough he saw the light dim from the man's eyes and was glad no one was around, as people seeing a soon-to-be king murdering a civilian would not look well. Better tell his family, he thought, seeing the ring on his finger. Naruto dropped the corpse to the ground and walked away, heading towards the shop he heard the man's wife runs in Solitude. Bits and pieces. A general store and pawn shop. This place looks nice, but it needs some serious work, he thought, thinking of Solitude as a whole as he entered the shop. Welcome to Bits and Pieces, how may I help, Lord Naruto? The woman at the counter was greeting him before seeing who it was and bowing to him. Ma'am, I hate to tell you, but your husband has passed. Naruto said, noting she didn't seem surprised. SHT, was he an idiot to everyone? He thought, as people did a lot of stupid things in the name of loyalty. Did he get drunk and have an arrow shooting contest with off-duty guards and get shot again? The appealing red guard woman asked. Not quite. His actions were more serious than you'd probably like to hear, but you deserve to know. He and I had a disagreement about him getting an assistant or extra help for forging weapons and armor of the Legion, but he struck me with a hammer. He lies dead because of me, Naruto told her seriously, and saw she was still not surprised. DMN, did I do this woman a favor? He thought, as the woman was not surprised by his death or his actions. I see. I do sincerely apologize, my lord. My husband may have been obsessed with our previous late king, but I only saw him as a bumbling king and fool. Always going on with his speeches about the empire. He wasn't a good king. Sigh, but Behrand loved and respected the man for who knows what reason why. The woman said with a bow to Naruto. Naruto was curious as he noticed the woman had rather unique hands and body stance. You are a blacksmith, he said, as while living in Whiterun he noticed Adrian had a similar stance. No, my lord. Behrand taught me a few things but not much. I'm a novice at best, the woman said. I can call in a favor for you to be trained. Naruto said as last he checked Adrian was not busy and business was slow, so he doubted she'd care if he asked and paid her to train this woman. I cannot ask you to do that, my lord, the woman said. Well, we need a new blacksmith and you seem like you can be a good one. Naruto said, thinking she couldn't be worse than her husband. The red guard woman was speechless at Naruto's offer. What do you say, miss? Would you like to prove yourself better than your husband ever was? Naruto asked. Yes, my lord, and if there is ever anything you need, do not shy away, I shall do it with gusto, the woman said, bowing her head. Anything, huh? My, that is quite an offer for someone whose name I have yet to get, Naruto mused. Simma, my lord. Simma said, still bowing her head. Simma huh? A appealing name. Tell me, I heard you and Bayranth have a son, right? Naruto asked. Yes, he wishes to join the Imperials. Simma said to him, as she didn't think it was a proper fit and her husband denied it given Naruto was to be king. I see. And where is he now? Naruto asked, as if he was near. He'd probably be the one to have to explain how his father had died. Though maybe without incriminating himself for the murder. He is out at the moment playing with the other children, my lord. I shall explain what happened to his father in private, Simma told him. Naruto nodded, making a mental note that her son was quite young. I see. And he won't be back for hours then? Naruto asked with a grin on his lips as he gazed at the widow's rather stuck body. No, my lord. He will be gone for at least 3 hours, Simma said, still bowing to him, not seeing his grin. Simma was surprised by how fast Naruto moved, locking the door and pinning her to the counter. She looked into his eyes and felt a shiver run down her spine, as the look in his eyes were that of an apex predator and she was his prey. She feeling him claim her lips, and began to give into the kiss loudly without restraint. She let out a loud and intense when she felt him bite her neck, and soon felt it an incredible change to her body. Naruto soon separated his fangs from her neck and looked into her eyes. How do you feel now, Simma? Naruto asked with a smirk. Absolutely incredible, she said happily. She wasn't sure what he fully did, but she felt great. She felt powerful. She felt like she had found a piece missing in her life that she had no idea what it was. Good to hear. Do you know what you are now? Naruto asked with his smirk widening. What? Simma asked, a bit drunk on what her body was feeling. It makes you mine. You're now my MLF juice dump to use as I see fit when I see fit, Naruto said, once again claiming her lips in a passionate lip lock. His tongue exploring her mouth and throat. Simma as she then felt Naruto begin to tear her free of her dress. His strong hands ripping apart the fabric as if it were tissue paper till she was left in her white BR and panties. Naruto, seeing her in her undergarments, smirked before reaching a hand and cupping one of her clothed melons with his left hand, reaching under the BR to pinch her tips, and before long he tore off her BR. Naruto then grabbed her now free fun bags with his free hands and started to massage and grope her large chest. Why is it that every Redguard woman I meet is a total SLT in bed? He asked her as she at his touch. We are trained in SXL arts to please our potential husband. Simma said, as all Redguard women were trained from when they were young. Oh really? So then you should be able to please me then, right? Like a good SEC SLV should? Naruto asked, smirking at the MLF beneath him. Yes, my lord. My body is made to please one as manly and virile as yourself. It exists solely to bring you pleasure, like a toy for you to play with, Simma told him. Perfect, because when this is over I am going to make it so this store can never be considered clean. Naruto said with a smile, and here I like to spoil my bees, he said as he dropped a small pouch with many jewels in it. Simma was so incredibly turned on by his words she didn't even register that he had placed jewels and gems on the counter next to her. Simply being called one of his bees was enough to soak her panties to the point she could have been accused of swimming in a river 5 seconds ago. Naruto began to strp and had her lay belly flat on the store counter and had his hardened PP rest against her panty-clad womanhood. Her eyes wide and mouth watering once she got a good look at the massive PP she'd be taking soon enough. Simma loudly as he pulled her wet panties off and entered her. Feeling his PP stretch her out and make it to the entrance of her WMB, he's not stopping, she thought, as his PP was hitting the wall to her most sacred place, and soon he breached it. Maybe I'll give your son a little brother or sister. How's that sound, my MLF where? Naruto asked with a grin as he slowly pulled his PP out until only the tip was inside of her, followed by quickly hammering it fully back inside of her CNT. Making the woman scream aloud. Sounds wonderful, my lord, Simma said, still adjusting to his length inside of her. All while she was daydreaming of her with a big PRGNM belly being used like a toy and broodmare by her future king. Being bred over and over and over again. Naruto felt her PP clamp down on him, and given how little SEC she seemed to have, Naruto decided to give her a treat and began leaking inside her PP. Simma let out a and choke sound as she felt Naruto begin to stuff her insides and could somehow taste it in the back of her throat. "How was your first real juice load filling you up, you dumb SLT?" Naruto asked, smirking. Simma felt her WMB was stuffed and looked down to her stomach, noting she was so stuffed that she looked 6 months PRGN. SS so much sea juices, Simma thought in awe at the sheer amount she had taken inside of her. Apparently her non-response irritated Naruto, who grabbed her by her hair and tugged her up to look him in the eyes. "Look me in the eye and answer, you dumb CNT." Naruto told her dominantly. "That's right, I'm a dumb CNT, his dumb CNT." Simma thought as she cried out a as he pulled out, the juices trapped inside her gushing out like a faucet. "Well? Are you gonna answer, or do I need to find a new where to wreck instead, Simma?" Naruto asked. "Please." Simma said weakly, "Keep F me," she pleaded, never wanting this to stop or end, wanting to please him as any good Redguard woman would do. "Oh. Why should I? You haven't told me how much you enjoy this." "I'm beginning to think you don't want me to F you dumber than you already seem to be," Naruto told her with a smirk on his lips, "but go ahead, tell me how much you enjoy it and I'll continue pumping load after load into you." "Otherwise I'm wasting my time," Naruto told her. "I'm your property, I was your property the moment you killed my weak, pathetic husband, I was yours the moment you stepped into this shop, you own me now and forever, and I want to be bred and give you appealing children. I want to be in your and the Queen's HRM and will serve you as a SLV or just some B, I don't care, I just want you to keep F me forever." Simma told him. Any semblance of who she once seemed to be gone and vanished. Extinguished by the god before her who claimed her for himself. "Well, who am I to deny a MLF what she wants?" Naruto snickered before slamming his PP back inside of her scient once more. Simma feeling the leaking still inside her gush around with every move, unable to believe this PP was real as it was too perfect. "I hope you're ready. 'Cause I'm gonna use your salty body for my pleasure for the next 2 hours. Naruto told her with a smirk. Simma loudly as Naruto kept his word, as for the next 2 hours she was defiled and taken in so many ways it made her SXL knowledge seem small in comparison to him. He made her spray her juices all over the shop, large amounts of his seed dripping down, marking her shop. 2 hours later. Simma had her eyes rolled up in the back of her head. Propped up with her spine against her counter as she sat on the floor. "Stop by the palace whenever you are in the mood. My soon-to-be wife shall take care of you," Naruto told her as he unloaded one final burst of juice on her fat tips. As if marking her. Simma let out a barely audible and soon blacked out. Naruto loved leaving his women in these states, but given that her son was due back any minute, he brought her to her room and put her down on her and her now ex-husband's bed. "Alright, see you around where? Now I've got some soldiers to deal with," Naruto said with a smirk. Simma was still barely conscious as Naruto walked away as she drifted to her sleep, but as she dreamed she could only dream about Naruto defiling her. Over and over and over again in various ways that would deem her aware. Hell, some may deem her beyond even that with the depraved things she dreamed of. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 6. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author pyrohelixdrago on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.